an AP authorized system. So just the wonderful question that the brother asked. Basically, there is a general level of program that you have, which is sort of the Canadian curriculum. On top of that, there are 3 systems that are considered higher than the Canadian curriculum. One of them is an IB system, which is managed by the Switzerland and a group of board members there. There's another curriculum, which is the GC O-levels, which is what I went through, which is the University of Cambridge system. And then there's a third system called the Advanced Placement System, which is an AP system, which is managed by North America. And the idea behind all of these 3, AP, IB, and the GC O-levels and A-level system, is to provide a more enhanced education over the normal curriculum. So for us, we are an AP authorized system, and based on individual students, we can advise them. Again, for us, we have some options that are equivalent. So AP is equivalent, considered equivalent to IB, and the college universities give you credit if you've done AP, advanced placement. Also, as I said, sometimes it's a choice between fast tracking and IB. Like, can you, for example, if you're a really brilliant student, complete the education earlier, graduate a year early, and be able to go in. Sometimes it's also a matter of, is it possible for you to maybe get, you know, a smaller level at IB, but at 99%, like some of our students got 95% scholarship from the universities because they had to choose between IB, AP, or normal curriculum. And what they decided was that if we go through the normal one, we can actually score a 99% and our 98% in our grades. So inshallah, those are some of the options that are available. And for individual students, we provide counseling to them about what would be the best option based on what they want to do in life. By the way, this year we had 12 graduates, and mashallah, every single one of them was accepted to a top university, including, for the first time, we have the top journalism school that accepted one of our graduates. We have 5 students that want to become doctors. We have 2 students going into computer science and engineering. So for location and transportation, typically right now, as I said, we are in the process of raising the funds, or at least the pledges, ideally the funds, so that we can put together a building in place. Typically what we do is that we have 2 or 3 systems. Most of the people that come to us require transportation. So we would typically work with a community member to set up some kind of a busing service. What we also do is set up a carpooling system where we have a Google map of all of our families who can provide transport. Maybe somebody can come in the morning, somebody can provide the transport back home. Generally, alhamdulillah, we are able to address the large majority of people who would like to go to the school through either the busing or the carpooling, or as we say, we almost have 20 parents that provide that service as well by charging an amount from other parents who are not able to do that. So that's between the parents, we coordinate that to say like, okay, this is a sister, she has a van, she only has 1 daughter. You know, if you could, for example, give her $100 a month, she can bring in your child. That generates some income for that sister as well by having 5, 6 children go with her. In other cases, so there are different models for the transportation that are possible.
Fees, financial thing, because I've got 3 kids. How does Wali look at that?
Alhamdulillah, that's a wonderful question about the fee. So you know, Wali Al-Asr is a non-profit organization. So what we did was that when we made the school, we made a promise to our Imam. And the promise that we made was, we will never accept anyone at Wali Al-Asr because they can pay the fee. And we will never reject anybody from Wali Al-Asr because they cannot pay the fee. So this was a pledge that we made 9 years ago. In the 9 years, alhamdulillah, we have never accepted someone who we felt wasn't the right family. And so the admission process consists of a test for the child, and an interview with the mother and the father, and a contract that is done between the mother and the father and the school. So in terms of our cost, the cost that we have is $425 per child per month for Calgary based on our calculation. However, as I said, it's very difficult for someone to pay and very easy for others to pay. Right now in Wali Al-Asr, we have students whose parents own, mashallah, like 15 factories and support the education of 50 other students. And for the first time in Canada, when I started working at Wali Al-Asr, I realized there are people here who cannot eat 3 meals a day. Like I went to the student's house and I realized there were 6 people living in 1 room and they were eating 2 meals a day because they can't afford the 3rd meal. So alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, some of our top students come from very rich families. Some of our top students and graduates come from extremely poor families as well. So one thing that I can assure you as a management member is that we will keep our promise to our Imam, meaning that we will never reject anyone from the community who was the right family, who understood the importance of Islamic education, who wanted to put their child there and could not do so because of their financials. Of course, we are looking for the community members to make that commitment and to be able to pay for the expenses of the school. But again, we will never reject anyone because they could not pay a certain amount for this. Because for us, this is not about the amount of the money. No, this is a hiring philosophy at Maula Ali is that we will only hire practicing Shia Muslim teachers. When we find someone that we are not able to find for that role, we will fund their education. So Maula Ali has right now funded in different ways, different types of education and certification for almost 15 to 20 community sisters and brothers. And we would fund their education and we will still invest in our own community. Because for us, you know, there are many things. I mean, in terms of how the knowledge is transferred, Sina ba Sina, Zana ba Zanu, Nafas ba Nafas, and also in terms of the fact that we are not looking as a math teacher to be someone who is committing zina and eating, drinking alcohol and, you know, having a child that looks at that teacher as a role model. The child, when he's dealing with a math teacher, she's as much of a role model for him as much as as an Islamic study teacher is. And as I said, we are from the philosophy of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, with every ilm should take you towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you have a teacher, for example, in one of the Shia schools, and I'm not criticizing anyone, they have hired a non-Muslim teacher, and you know, based on their culture, this teacher, the parent brought in the student to our school. I asked them, why did you move from this Shia school? She said, because the teacher was discussing with my grade 7 daughters that she has 2 boyfriends and how can she manage both of them without letting one of them know that the other one exists. So for us, if we are going to invest this time and money and ask you to say Labbaika Ya Husain, we don't want to have a teacher that would be indulging in that type of activities, and for the students to see that, okay, this is religion that happens in this way, and then this is the real life. No, for us, real life is the religion, and religion is the real life. So we will only hire Shia Muslim teachers at the school. Yes?
How many number of adherents would be feasible to start a school in Calgary?
Thank you for asking that question. What is the number of students that we are looking for to start the school in Calgary? So typically for us, we consider 12 per class to be a number that we find is critical. We actually don't generally ever go above 20, only in very rare cases. So for us, the ideal class size is from 12 to 20 for a classroom. So if generally we want to open a school, we want to be able to open it even as a start from JK to grade 5. That means we're looking at 7 classes. That means we're looking at about, you know, somewhere around 84 to 120 students total to be able to start a school, for making sure that the students have enough personality types that they're dealing with and they have a good environment, and it's not a setup where you have 3 children and 2 of them are on a holiday, so this guy is alone in the class now. So to answer your question, we are generally looking for, again, it's not a hard number. For example, if there's 9 in one class and 15 in another class, that's okay as well. But generally on average, we are looking for about 12. Also 12 is a number that allows us to sustain at least the teacher's salary, because we are looking for the capital expense through fund generation in the beginning. But after that, we would like the school to be self-sustaining. So that's also a number that typically we have to look for 12, 13, 14, 15 to be able to at least be able to pay the teacher properly. Well, the average cost per student for Calgary, we have projected, is $425 per student per month. That's what the school will spend on a child. As I said, for those who can pay $425, alhamdulillah. So, finishing the time? Okay. So inshallah, I think we have to go for the dinner. Inshallah, we'll be around here for a few days. Once again, thank you very much to the management of the center, as well as to all the brothers here. And again, we're here at dinner as well as tomorrow and day after. So again, I encourage you to continue coming up with questions. We'll be happy to answer them. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.